1 second. Let me get this right. Sorry about that. All right. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody in the Zoom room. Welcome everybody in out in the Facebook audience. These shows resonate with you. Hey, Galita Sanchez, what's going on? Happy birthday. No, I'm late with that, but it's good to see you. Yeah, we got Honi B and Michael Abramson on of the Ascension Alchemists new Facebook page and YouTube channel. These shows resonate with you, please share so we can stay above these algorithms. You can catch the lives and the replays here on this page. You can catch the live on Zoom, and you can catch the replays on YouTube. We're starting to gain some ground on YouTube, and we're still working on our own thing. It's a community effort. It's not just me doing it. There's a lot of people involved with Soulogy, many people all over the world just giving us their great energy. And if that's all you can do, then that's great. If you can afford to make a contribution to support our efforts, we do have a Patreon now. And of course, we have PayPal as well. So thank you so much for all those people that are loving, supporting, and contributing to make this possible. All right, let's get Honi B up here and Michael Abramson, see what's happening with them and their world. Yeah. Hello.
Hi, darling.
Hello there, brother.
¿Qué pasa?
Wow.
Great.
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Fantastico. Fantastico.
We're saying the backdrop looks great and you look delicious, Todd.
Wow.
I look crystally delicious.
I was just going to say, you look good. I like your hair. I like the way you did your hair. I was just going to say that.
Thank you. It's the same.
It doesn't look the same. It looks a little bit different.
You know why, Todd?
It's just my ears.
Because she adds her feathers, which look they come from her hair. She puts these like wild Indian feathers on, and they're just, it gives her that, like, you know, that.
You two are the gotta be the best dressed light worker couple out there.
Todd, I just try to keep up with her. You know, she's normally just beautiful. So like, if it wasn't without this, you know, Persian goddess, then it wouldn't, you know, force me to, you know, get these pink shirts and, like, you know, come out of my own closet to.
He's so cute. He usually looks at me. I see him picking what I'm wearing. I'm like, don't pick. I was like, and then sometimes he wants to ask me what this. I was like, do not ask me what to. Don't ask my opinion. Whatever makes you feel bedazzled, wear that. That's what I always tell him. Just whatever makes you feel bedazzled.
She says, don't come from your mind, come from your
Come from your heart.
I'm like, I was just asking how you felt about me. I'm not asking about my mind. I was just curious, do I look hot or not? Like, I just want a little love.
I don't think he's looking at you when you're see what you're wearing, just when you're not wearing anything.
Yeah, right.
That
you
too.
You should know what happened today.
Oh my goodness.
You're very intuitive.
Oh, he knows.
So that's because I'm just like him. He's my brother.
Yeah.
It's good to see y'all. It's really good to see y'all.
It
really is.
You. I know you've been going through so much, and so much has been happening.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
What's that?
Congratulations. Really beautiful intro to this and all the everything
Introduction,
that's coming with Soulogy. It's wonderful.
music, the video, everything was it's beautiful. It's
wonderful.
powerful. The lead into it really captures an energy that is you can really feel it lift and move into what you're presenting in the grace of Soulogy.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that the graphics Michael Van Patten did a few months ago.
Excellent.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really, really nice. It really is. Yeah, I'm really thankful that he was able to put that together and many other things that he's done for us. You guys, as usual, have been very busy. I haven't talked to y'all since the probably November, maybe, or I don't remember. I can't remember everything, but
Summertime.
Summertime. Yeah.
September.
summertime.
Yeah.
Has it been that long? Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Well, we have been on the go. That's right. So I thought we left at the end of last year, but no, we left in August. So yeah, we had kind of sporadic stuff. And on that note, anybody that's watching live and on the replay, I'm making a list. Morgan has a list. We've got 75 shows scheduled and like 150 people on the waiting list. So we're doing about 60 or 70 a month, and we're trying to get to everybody. So just have a little faith. Don't send messages to me, because if you do, it'll get delayed even worse. So, but no, you guys have been busy. I know you went to I know you went to Europe, right? You went to Europe?
Greece.
So we after in September we left for
That's right.
Europe for our several weeks, and then we ended up doing all the planetary work in Greece. We ended up everything. We were supposed to be in Egypt. Egypt fell apart, and we ended up having to be in Greece in working with anchoring these crystalline diamond codes of light, the keys and the codes there, and especially a lot of the work with Delphi and through the different islands and the interdimensional islands. That's why we had contacted you if we can share things before we went to Hawaii. And things also shifted around. So we have entered 2020 with a lot of again, shifts, rapid shifts, and all part of the divine alignment. And we came back. I mean, it's just been super packed for us because, Todd, we are full-time healers, we're facilitators, we gather groups, we do lots of different events, and we are hands-on facilitating as healings and transmissions and everything. So, and on top of it, like we have our families and then travel schedule and still planetary work. So we are just, I mean, schedule is so packed, but like
Good.
we have like on average on Messenger, it takes me 5 or 6 days to respond back. And I do find people get upset, but it just, I just cannot respond to everybody. It's impossible. And everything that we're in this place that everything has to be so synchronized with us. It's constant communication, constant checking, and constant like feeling each other. We're constantly in each other's bodies and feeling each other's vibration to make sure everything is harmonized properly, because that's where we are serving from. So it's a lot more even fine-tunement.
And really seeing Todd through 2020, I'm sure you felt it, is just this moment of like really surrendering and accepting what's coming forward, because I'm sure Morgan's seen it. There is a week of events, or there's all this online to take place, and before you know it, we just have to let it go, because maybe there's an accident, maybe there's something that's happening. Before you know, it's like, wait, we were supposed to do here, we were supposed to go to Hawaii, we just got to let it go. What about plane tickets? It's interesting to see what the universe is testing, because I always say, we try to live life, but life lives you. It's like we can have all these things planned and we're doing the best, but then when energies start to thrive before us, we have to really check in with each other and really feel where are we best being called to serve, and really listen to our hearts versus getting caught up with, the exterior energies of what's moving, because there's a lot of funky stuff happening right now.
Well, it's an intricate woven road, isn't it? I mean, like, I know you talked about Hawaii. You mentioned about what happened in Egypt. You were in Florida. You were in South Florida. We were too far north from you. And I saw that you were going to be moving your house. I think you said you were going to move in your house. And then I see the pictures of your kids and then being in a relationship just navigating this transition we call ascension is in itself, that's a full-time kind of deal now. So we had Morgan basically received, when we got settled, that it was time to bring on couples, not so much to further the distortions of twin flames and this and that, but to provide the code that's available between two people, because one person has it, but between two people who have a joint mission and who have to deal with the everyday stuff, which we're all dealing with. It's like Morgan says, it's a spiral up, and then you spiral down, and you spiral up, and there is a lot of good signs, and I think it's a really good time, and I think that's why she got the message to load up couples. I think we got like 20 something couples now through the end of the month and of the last couple of days. So we wanted to bring out some of that in the show, and we could talk about some other stuff too. But like, you guys have been together and been a powerful duo for quite some time. And I know, because I talked to Michael a few months ago when I was in California, we had a nice discussion during a very pivotal time, I think, too, back then. It was I think it was September, October. And it was a lot of stuff happening. So much has changed since then.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess to start, so you guys have been together quite a while, and 2020 has been a whole new ball game. Like, no matter what we've all been through in 2018, prior to that, 2019 was crazy. 2020 January was just like off the charts. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, that was the longest year. That was the longest year of my life, and it's only January."
Here.
Right.
That was probably the hardest year of my life. Was January.
Exactly. So so how do you now? You just gave a great description of checking vibrations, seeing where each other is at. I mean, these are the things, even though they're not coming from up there, but they really are, because we're the ones from up there that are here.
Right.
But these are the things that I think that provide a lot of code for people, even if it's not in the explanation of the words, but just the intention of the heart as it's projecting or emitting what they're trying to say or what their experience has been. How do you guys handle, especially these last 2.5 months of these escalating, de-escalating, the cup gets emptied, the cups gets full.
I am
how do you
so gonna have you take the lead, Michael. He has really.
I mean,
Yeah.
Thank you, Todd. First of all, it's a great intro into all of this, because personally, I think we're all feeling it, and as in a divine union where we're being mirrored with it, and that's what 2020 personally we look at it's the ultimate mirror of yourself and your own relationship, let alone the divine relationship within. And I would say one of the biggest tools that we both use that really helps align us together and individually is every morning we sit individually in prayer in separate rooms and really open ourselves up to feel, to receive, and to really align with the divine so that we can clearly receive the messages that are coming forth and really start our day in the highest, purest, most authentic way, and then come out, and then we'll have maybe like a half an hour, 45-minute hour breakfast of just sharing what's moving through us. And I would say the conversations that Honi been having, even through the thick of it, when it comes up and it's boiling, we hold each other so accountable for the actions, for what's been moving through, not in a way to blame, to judge, to point or project, but more or less to hold the accountability, because we see we both want the highest for each other and our full expression. And I feel that when there's such a deep, rich love, especially with this beautiful, powerful being that can see when I'm off just by a tick, that it's brought out. And it's not only brought out, it's like, what's happening?
It's blasted out, actually. It's
blasted
out. Like Michael, don't sugarcoat it. Like it's
Yeah.
freaking
Have
blasted
one little
out
whisker missing.
because vibrationally we are so synchronized, and when it's off, it really shows up. It's not like this anymore. It is like this, very much like an explosion. And part of it is because, I mean, as the question Michael Todd asked was about like, how are we handling things? There are days that we handle it so magnificently. We are on it and we got this. And there are days absolutely not, Todd. And I like to be raw and real about this. And I really appreciate Morgan's consciousness to bring this, because we are, the keys and the codes is our responsibility in being raw, real. What is really happening? Do we have this figured out? Totally not. But do we have certain area we got it down? Definitely. And that's from the wisdom that has been brought forth from the direct experience we can share and assist others. But the other part, no, we still haven't. And I would say between us, we always come back to this. We would say about 75%, 80% within our bond, we got this. It's normal, but the rest, it's still, that's the ones that we're really tweaking, because those are the ones that really comes out. And that's the ones where the alignment is in separation of the divine lens. And then through the spiritual lens, it loses sight and it reduces to the human lens, which is very retracted, and it creates a problem. Now we have to bring that consciousness in here, and not from here live there. That doesn't work for us. So as a result of it, there are these streamlines within us that's coming in individually and together with our dynamic. And wherever there's these so-called retracted or narrow paths that's not allowing the fullness of the stream to come in, it's going to show up. And I definitely pointed out in myself, I hold myself responsible, and for sure pointed out to Michael, because again, for us, as I've shared this before, I'm not interested in a relationship. This is a service. And when we are in service for the higher calling, there is a tremendous responsibility for this. So that means there's nobody else to face but you and the wholeness of you and all of you.
And just to pick up from that, I don't know with you and Morgan, Todd, when things happen and there's no communication, but there's an ultimate revelation that things are moving between both couples, are both, energies. And I feel what is a gift, but also can be, painful at the same time, is I know when I'm in my heart and I'm in that heart space, our energy is just flowing. But the
delicious.
Deliciousness.
So delicious.
Sexy-licious. It's sexy-licious. So sexy-licious.
Juicy, delicious.
It's flowing. But the moment that I give the driver wheel to the head energy. Now, when I say head energy, the lower mind, not the higher mind. So just the ego, which we know, then that is Honi's ultimate trigger, which is interesting because that trigger within is also my trigger within me, because once two head energies get going, this, it's an explosion of two fires. So it's a beautiful way to really dive deep in. And when I look in, I say, okay, when I stay in my heart and I can really recognize that heart space, then things are flowing. Things are flowing. And yet we're all human. We all have these things that arise. So we start to maneuver around these triggers where if my head energy rises, we're now pulling code words.
We have a keyword as soon as it comes up to give the warning.
That's very smart. That's very smart.
We don't create
interact.
battlefields.
So she goes, "What's a word?"
I told her, I was
"What's
like,
a word? Give me a word."
Give me a word the second you're falling from the grace of divine, literally.
or literally, I just got triggered and my mouth wants to open to retaliate, to point, to blame from that little child that just wants to, talk it smack. She goes, "What's a word?" I said, "Lightning." And lightning. Which is good because lightning has a very powerful metaphor. So as soon as we go there, lightning.
So the second there's something off, and now say the word lightning, and then he catches himself. So I remove myself. He removes himself right away. So then there's no conversation there, and then then we come back, and we found like this is an art. It really
Yeah.
takes a little while to get this, because you do have to go through that and what I do appreciate with Michael is that there are times, I mean, like we had experience, I mean, I was just like, you are out of here, you're going to leave, that's it. You like, I will refuse to accept this, absolute refusal, because you can't see, you're blocked from seeing this. And what happens is, when he gives himself the time, the minute he comes to it, then there is no art, because he actually sees through the same lens. Then he sees there's no domination, there's no control, there's none of that. Is to serve one, we're one. But this part sometimes doesn't allow to be seen. And what I really love is when he comes to it, then he's like, no, I really see. The minute he comes to his heart, he's like, my God, honey, I really see. I totally see what you're saying. Yes, of course. And then it takes off with us, you know. So it's a very interesting experience, because I'm also learning, you know, how to communicate that better. And for me, being in this female incarnate, not to back down at all, to completely say what I need to say, not because, okay, well, because I love you, I feel compassionate for you, I feel all of that. I'm not here to baby Michael.
Yeah.
I'm here to hold him responsible the way I hold myself responsible. But the voice for me to be very open to say exactly what I need to say.
Yeah.
So that way he also has permission to say what he needs to say that he hasn't been able to say.
And
you see what I mean? And then we have this amazing, we have insane, crazy, deep hours of the conversations. Then it's all clear in both of our.
starts in very Kali-tide.
Yeah.
It's like the fire, like the fires are being thrown back and
Yeah.
forth. And we're like, and it eventually cools down and fire gets thrown back and forth. But it gives the ultimate practice of listening, not defending, not projecting. And what I've learned recently, and I have to bow down to Amanda recently on her beautiful live stream about defense mechanisms, of seeing within myself, where is my own defense of going quiet, versus she wants to speak everything out very quickly and resolve it. And I kind of want to go back and just be quiet, because I don't want to say anything, because I figure the less I say, the less I'm going to get myself in trouble. So,
well, that's really good. This is good stuff. Okay, people are digging this, and yeah. So one of the things that comes to mind, one of the first couples. Well, it wasn't a couple, but right at the end of the last month or beginning of this month, Michael James Garber came on, and he's partnered up with Ron Arnett, and so they've been on a couple of times. And I asked him about it, even though it wasn't a couples show. And I just said, I don't know how it came up. And he said, no matter what happens, no matter what's going on, and they've come on when they were not aligned, okay, to their credit, and when they were aligned. But he said, no matter what, because they do what you do, what we're doing, they travel and they go different places and they do their work. He said, no matter what happens, we're always doing the work. Not, work's not the right word, but they're always on the mission. They have a joint mission, just like you have a joint mission. So that's one thing that I think is important. Two, what you brought up about the, it is, you have to go through it in order to refine it.
yes.
And one can't, like Honey said, I'm not going to baby them. And Michael said, and I'm not going to walk on eggshells. But both of these things are being refined as time goes on. We just went through an incredible communion last night, where our team explained to us this whole thing, like what we just went through, what we've gone through in the previous months or time we've been together, but also what we went through, like say, in the last 10 days. So we were just doing our thing, and I was doing the broadcasting. I got through with the work for the day. She was downloading all day, doing mandalas, anchoring in new codes. We came together. We were at different ends of the spectrum. I was in in the end of the spectrum where I just wanted to like relax.
Yeah.
She was in the end of the spectrum all day long. She'd been wanting to talk about this. Short conversation. We did what you do. We just went like that, you know. And I went to one part of I went to the RV, and she went into the house. And for 3 days, we just messaged a couple times.
Wow.
Right? Message, I'm going to the store. Would you like something? Da, 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 whatever. But the interesting thing about it was, and this is kind of where I think we're all headed, and this is what you were talking about with Amanda, is that neither one of us were projecting. Both of us went into solitude. Both of us continued to do our work. We didn't talk about it. We took everything into ourselves. And then, on the fourth morning or the third morning or whatever it was, we just sat down and started talking. And not a whole lot was said about what happened because it was very superficial. It was nothing more than energies not being aligned, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Morgan says often, I can't be in alignment all the time as an individual. How can I expect my partner or my relationship to be in alignment all the time? But something really incredible came out of it last night as they were explaining to us what happens. And I can't remember everything, but I remember that in some part of it, not all of it, but part of it was in so many words, the telepathy. Like one thing is I know no matter what happens or what it's ever happened or what could happen, I know that woman is doing the work, and I think she knows I'm doing the work, and not focusing on the other one and being caught up in all that dramatic 3D stuff. But it sounds like the same journey that you're talking about. And I just want to restate that it takes experience. It's not like someone says, oh, this is how you do it, and you just do it. It actually takes figuring it out. And to me, this is what writing the new template is, writing the new blueprint is, and I've said this before, and I'm sure you've had experiences like this. The consciousness of Yeshua and Magdalene came to us a long time ago.
Yeah.
Said, here's the template. You have it now. Here's our template. Now go out and expand it. And whether we're talking about divine conscious union being anchored and expanded, or many other elements of the roles that we're playing on the earth in this ascension, I think that holds true. And I think this is how it happens. Like you said, honey, a minute ago, you have to like do it down here, so it's interesting to hear the similarities. Yeah.
I feel that, Todd, what is this flame that we have inside, which is from this I am presence, to really bring the presence, the greater presence within this human garment. There's one thing to know something, right? There's one thing to have the will of divine replaced within your own human will. So that strength comes in, or the love. But without the wisdom, nothing can be fully delivered for the purpose of delivering this golden age and ascension. Why? Because the ascension is exactly that, to bring it down. The wisdom is a huge part of it, and the wisdom comes from direct experience. We have had the templates downloaded to us before we even incarnated into this earthly garment as part of our soul agreement. And any of us that are part of the Yeshua Magdalene codes of light, it is not for us the reincarnation of Christ and Mary Magdalene. We are the living crystalline vibration. And what that means is this flame, this triple flame here, has to be in its fullest radiance. The will, the cosmic divine love, and the wisdom has to be aligned together, because that's when you're radiating its true vibration and essence. And you cannot do this if you're sitting in a closet, hiding yourself and being behind the, let's say, Facebook, with all the respect. You do have to be in interaction to allow these to be interacted with each other, to be brought and to be expanded, so that it becomes a true living vibration as a living code. It's no longer just hidden, embedded within the DNA. They're living, vibrating like a tutorial field all around you. And so what becomes very important, those of us who are in these types of union that are called, because we are the anchors, and there's tremendous responsibility we took, because each of our individual work is the key part of it, because when we come together is this flame that has brought both of our flame together. This is the part, is like that we guard it so carefully. It is the ultimate flame, because every answer, every solution, everything comes from here. So as a result, there is that, for me, with greater wisdom comes that greater responsibility, because there's the greater power in it. And that greater power, if you're not anchored, you're not, for example, best word is responsible discipline. You're not going to manage this well. You're going to do harm to you and people around you. And with all due respect, it would be very much like many people who are walking around very flaky, not anchored, causing all kinds of harm. When you are with this, you know what you're working with. Then it becomes a greater responsibility, and it also becomes a discipline to do your daily part in visiting this, carrying it, expanding it, so you're in this clear field when you meet each other. And that is what has been shown to us. And if something is not, for example, vibrating properly, like the other day, I had in my meditation, my team above said, why don't you do a clearing ceremony with Michael? So after his prayer meditation, he came out. I said, Michael, I was asked to do this. Can we set the time? So right here became
3-3.
We brought on 3-3. We brought all the elements, and I'm a dispatcher facilitator, but not in that way. I wanted to do our own organic way. Brought it, and it was so wonderful for us to go in there, and we took various elements of nature, and we fully were able to express it to each other. Like, for example, with one of the rocks, I spoke to the rock, like, for example, this unconscious behavior that Michael came from, because it wasn't from his heart, it created this, and it is my responsibility to release that. You see what I mean? Because that's what, so then blowing into it, releasing it. So I did this for myself, then Michael did this, and we were both able to create this prayer bundle together and bless each other and bless the gratitude, bless the gifts, because this becomes part of the wisdom that we now can bring to other couples, other people, because we have walked through it. It's nothing we read, nothing we learned on YouTube, nobody else directly, because we've experienced the pain, we've experienced that wisdom has been now anchored within this flame. And we're not going to go back that way. We move forward.
And to honor that, that pain, to honor that suffering, to honor as a human being of what we went through, and then in the grace to forgive it. And I feel that was the biggest part of the despacho, because we gave the opportunity. But
this was for the 3 years that we felt like we needed to wrap things over these 3 years to put it into this and allow it to transmute.
And so we took all the 3 years and just took where the pains were, where the hurt, where the suffering, where the things that really hit us in our hearts, and to really bless it to the fullness. And as we were doing it, tears were coming through, the vibration of energy was moving through our bodies. It was such a transformational experience that I truly believe everyone or every couple should have the opportunity to just express what has been brought forward, because that is healing alone and allowing everything that comes forward. And
because I think the shadow work is very important. You do it individually, but when you are with another couple, when you're with another person, the art of the courage to communicate that with another and voice it, that's a huge part of the expression transmuting out of you. You can go, I can't go do the shadow work for Michael. That's not my responsibility. That's his responsibility. But if there's been an impact, that's part of that compassion opening up and the greater responsibility because the lens has opened. And then we hold that in its really grace. Just grace is the best word that I can try to wrap around this. And I feel, again, we have to have these experiences so that we can communicate as a public people and to share, look, we just like everybody else go through our own things, but these are the things that we found that is helpful. Maybe it will help you, maybe it inspire you. These are higher conscious way that we are working through it, like as an art, like a real alchemy, you know?
Because there's different ways. When we first met, Todd, we actually did an experiment where an experience felt like an experiment where we would sit there, and I remember, okay, honey, here is 15-20 minutes. Now I just want you to say everything. Just let it all out. Just give it to me. And the only thing that I'm to do is say nothing.
Yeah.
And just hold that space. And it was so powerful to listen, not to personalize, not to judge, not to take notes and put it in my back pocket for a rainy day, but just give that 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, and just let it all out. And that experience
and for
was
each other,
for each other,
just to
allow it, maybe not back to back on the same day, but just the opportunity for to let all that fire, all that energy out that may not even be hers, maybe not be mine, but what's coming through us, so it can be fully communicated.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of what we got last night's along the same lines. And it was like, God, I wish I could recall everything. I can't, because I'm just too right now. But what they were saying was, they were explaining, I think they used the word narrow moments, right? And this, and they explained to us that, you know, you guys have gotten better and better and better, because we really never have had a lot of conflict. But when you have, like you said, these two fires, when you might have a moment where you're not aligned, and this is that process you're talking about. This is the experience that is the newfound wisdom, or the expanded wisdom from the original templates, or whatever you want to call it. But they talked about how important those times were, how what the point was. In other words, it was like going through a fire, basically. And the other thing that we kind of picked up on too, now this has been going on for a while, is that as we ascend, or I guess converge or merge in a greater capacity or reality as one. And this has been step, and we've been told as we've gone that when one clears, the other clears. When one is activated, the other's activated. And you can start to see that in everyday life, and we laugh about it. You know, we laugh about it now, but that's something that to me was not visible, because it wasn't there in the old relationships, you know, prior to us all waking up and all that. But this is part of that, we'll call it 5D plus frequency, that's starting to become a part of our lives.
And I just want to, you know, take back one comment that you said, Morgan said, in our own individual alignment and our own alignment within our union, because I really appreciate what you said, because there are moments that I wake up and I don't feel aligned within myself.
Yeah.
And Honi recognized that immediately. She's like, do what you got to do, you know, go to the gym, go out in nature. She feels it immediately, because I'm just waking up and I'm just not feeling well. And I feel it's so important just to acknowledge and recognize that there's going to be days we're not aligned. And not to personalize it and say, oh, we're not in line with each other at this moment, because we're just battling back and forth, not to judge, but just to really take the full and responsibility and be like, wow, I'm not aligned. I have to do something about it myself before I even open this mouth.
And not project that onto another, because you're not, and that's that higher responsibility. And I wanted to also, around what you said, Todd, from my higher team, one of the things that has been shared, again, I'll go back to this higher conscious divine union couples for a specific purpose. As we are merging more and more with our higher self, with our cosmic self, with our Christ self, with our monads and aspects, and this I am is coming in, then the other partner we have is also going through the same. And our union is really becoming completely unified as one energetic field. The other couples are also going through this. So and so as a ginormous team of light all place different parts of Gaia, we are as a network of light plugged into each other, because when we clear it and when we go, that's why we put in certain positions, certain circumstances, because when we clear it through ourselves, like when I go through this, Michael goes through this, and together our union transmutes, transforms it, then this opens it in us, and this opens it within the fields between the inner planes and the outer planes, between these grids and the unity Christ consciousness grid, particularly the crystalline light expands. So, and we're considered transmitters when we come together. And the other part of it, that this ties into the 144,000 place, because the 12 aspects of us is being reunified. Again, that's part of the 12 rays of light that is to radiate out of us. So imagine the 12 rays of light within me, 12 rays of light within Michael, and our merging. That's that tremendous blast. So within these rays of light, all of these little pockets of impurity that is not part of this reflection that's so pure and clear has to be transmuted. That's why it's brought up, so that we can see it through this. We are seeing not just with our physical eyes, we're seeing it with our emotional body, mental body, etheric, spiritual. We're seeing it through the lens of the seer fully, and that's where we can't hide it. It has to be addressed responsibly. It has to be brought into light, because it's part of, again, the wisdom. The wisdom is the key in it for it to be anchored, because you
absolutely
by it.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure to repeat this, because this doesn't just apply to couples; it applies to everybody. What I'm about to say. What she,
You're in a, when you're in a union, another level. It's
within all.
No, absolutely. I know what you're saying. What I wanted to pick one part out of it out, which applies to the couples, but it applies to individuals too. It's something we learned, and I know you can relate to it because you just described it. And that is that there's no doubt that we're having activations and substantial elevations and expansions. And if we went back a few months or a year or whatever, in other words, there started to become obvious, like a cycle. There was like a pattern, like you have a huge activation, and what you said was perfect, because when you have that, it does pull up the impurities. And we started to notice, as I did, she probably already noticed it, but 2 or 3 months ago, I said, do you notice that every time we have a huge elevation or activation, that it gets a little bit shaky 2 to 3 days later? But I think this is really good information, because since I've become aware of that, she, has been aware of it, whatever, it's actually gotten a little bit smoother. In fact, they told us last night that the time period of integration has accelerated dramatically. Well, I just want to tell everybody out there that, that this applies to everybody, that part of it. And that when you have an activation, I mean, don't get freaked out and scared, but go easy on yourself and understand, and I think a big part of these cycles anyway is we become aware of something. No different than Honi pointing out something to Michael, or somebody realizes something themselves. Once we start to become aware, the cycle starts anyway. But just, remember, we're moving through some very, very powerful, as the days go by, more and more powerful. And it's not a bad thing when your shit comes up because you got activated 2 days ago. You know what I mean?
It's fantastic. And Michael can say more about that.
And it's hilarious, because I want to laugh at it at the same time, because we'll be in our like most blissful moments. There'll be like sometime like in Miami, we're like in this blissful, loving moment. Everything's perfect, and then
it's very ecstatic.
It's expanded. We're like in this beautiful field
with all
the energies, in an intense place, no less. Miami is a pretty heavy place. Yet all of a sudden, there comes a judgment out of me, or there comes this trigger out of nowhere. Todd, it's so funny. I'll sit there and I'll be like, everything's great morning. We're sitting in the sun. everything's perfect. And then
You know, he's got his sun, the sand, the sea, everything, delicious food, yumminess, love, beautiful. And then some, like literally, like,
jumps out, and
jumps
then
out.
and then before I know it,
And then when he catch himself, he's like, what was that? Like,
it was before I
but
even could
that's
say
what's
lightning.
beautiful.
It was actually,
I
here's
couldn't
the
even
key.
say lightning.
It was
'cause
so
he caught
fast
it.
because I caught it, but then it hit her, and then I was coming after her to explain, but she was already upset.
I was like, no, I'm gonna remove myself.
I gotta remove myself. Like, no. And I'm like trying. She's like, if he's getting more upset, I'm like,
no, I'm gonna move. Like, but it was so funny because it didn't even get to lightning anymore because he was shocked himself. How
Yeah.
could this blissful light state? And part of it is this being these crystalline templates, right? So, you know, I don't know if you know, Todd, on this March 30th would be a year when I was on your show and did that semi transmission of the diamond template. So this diamond template is so important because it has to be crystalline clear. What that really means is this radiance truly coming out beautifully. So that's why any of these things does not have a place in it.
Yeah.
And because these higher dimensional consciousness and the presence that we already are is coming in, is just being anchored and being pulled in. So as a result of it, it's becoming comical. It's because we can catch ourselves when we're somehow almost like an old energetic part of ourselves is trying to block it. So, and this is what we saw happen.
and I appreciate what you said, Todd, because it's happening.
Faster and
It's happening
faster.
faster and faster, but we're catching it. And I think it's important for us to share it as a couple, but also as individuals that are going through this, because we all know that we're on our individual ascension with our divine partner, and those that are not with their divine partners, we're still able to relate and see what's happening because of how fast it's becoming. It's flying out even faster. And as it's flying out even faster, to me, it's the grounding nature right now. It's the fully anchoring in every aspect and recognizing as a human being, we see in our ability, it's this alignment of eating, breathing, exercising, and allowing ourselves to be the fullness of who we are before we can reach out to the stars and touch the galactic federations. We have to anchor this right now because it's getting freaking, I mean, phenomenal.
This is perfect. So today we had a conversation, and I talked about this on the previous show. I'll just go through it real quick. Yesterday was a very special day for Morgan. I didn't have any money the night before. And so I put up the prayers all night long, and I got up the next day. There was nothing in PayPal. I mean, I had no money. And it wasn't going to be expensive or anything. I just wanted to go get her something, right? So eventually, boom, it manifested. I got in the RV. I ran to the place, and I ended up buying her this singlet, a spaghetti strap T-tank, you know, like a woman wears, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I thought I was so smart because it had these pads on it, right? And I asked the lady, "Can you take the pads out, like pads for the breath, for the breath?"
They said pads. Okay,
No, pads. So I said to the lady, "Can you take them out?" And she said, "Yes." And well, show me how to do it. So she did, and I'm like, "Oh, this is a great gift. You know, she loves this color, and you know, and she can wear it with the pads or without the pads."
Yeah.
So anyway, I bring it home and I gave it to her. And she didn't say anything. Just said, "Thank you." You know, we hugged and everything. So last night we started communing, and once we hit that moment, we don't really go into the human. You know what I mean? We pretty much stay connected, and then eventually we fall asleep at some point. But last night we were doing it, and in the middle of it, she starts just cracking up, right? Just absolutely cracking up because they were showing her stuff to release. Yeah. And one of the things that they showed was the fact that I had brought her a breastfeeding singlet.
Oh.
So, it was for breastfeeding. But here's the connection to what you were saying.
Yeah.
So we were talking about it because last night when she started laughing, I'm like, "What are you laughing about?" You know, like that. And I was in such an ecstatic state that I knew it was funny, but I didn't want to laugh about it because I didn't want to come out of the state I was in. So we talked about it today. And I said, you know, because I got up really early today, and I said, I was by myself, and I started thinking about it, and I started cracking up. I mean, my stomach was hurting. I was laughing from the belly. And she said, that's really a good thing. And I said, why? And this is the point I'm making. She said, because when we receive this stuff, when we get this information and the code and all that, we have to go back into the human. That's how it's grounded.
Yeah, of
So
course.
you can laugh, you can cry, you can eat, like you said, or you do the mundane things that we might think associated with the human aspect. But I think that's very important. That's a very important thing also to remember, because we get that high, and I know you guys can relate to it. You get that high and you're like, oh my God, I'm up here with the monad. And then you come back down and you feel like dense and slow. But I thought that was another good point that might serve to help other people. Now, I wanted to ask you too, because I think this is something else that everyone contends with. And of course, when two or more gather, especially these couples, they have two perspectives and they have two experiences and two histories and two tool belts. And that is, many of us, if not all of us, whether we're with somebody or not, has been affected by external people. People attack you, people attack your partner, and stuff like that. So that's been a real, for me personally, that's been a real good barometer for me, because I pull people up every day. And, Morgan's all about shadow work and owning stuff if somebody makes her uncomfortable. But it's an interesting thing. And I was wondering how you guys deal with that. Does it serve you? Does it help you expand? Has it been a struggle? Because I really think that kind of information will help not just couples, but individuals as well, because we've all been alienated by our families and we've all been attacked from time to time.
So I feel I'll use a couple of things that I feel will be helpful, and Michael can also share a couple of different notes. Being public people, being of service, being very open about we're here to serve our mission. One of the things, especially being on social media and what have you, I as a female, I have experienced very, very brutal attacks. And that's been also by some very, very close one that has completely shocked me, just shock. And at the same time, then moving through it and receiving higher guidance, like how to deal with this. One I have to say is there's been the Jesus lover hater, the level of hate coming and blasting on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, or even I've had threat towards my kids. It's been very interesting on that. But there's one part that Michael and I, when we first experienced it together, like it started coming, blasting the nastiest, the most nastiest thing. So I said, Michael, this was the first time Michael was seeing this. I was like, Michael, listen, we're going to go open and live with this. We're going to share it publicly so it has no power over us anymore. So we brought it up and really brought it in, and it was beautiful teamwork between each other. Then also another part, like I have had, and women are very drawn to Michael. Women are like, oh, Michael, and I've seen some what we might consider inappropriate, and that has been very, very interesting for Michael to learn how to really use discernment and be very clear. And I've had to invite him to be very, very responsible in being very clear with his, I don't consider it boundary, but be very clear with your language and position you are, because it's like drawn like this, and for reason, because but know also what is manipulation. So there was one experience that we had that was just, it was just so awful, and Michael really wanted to help this person, but he decided to keep it from me because he felt bad. He wanted to help this person, and we could totally
from integrity, nothing in the sense
right
of,
But what was so interesting is it was so incredible to see the viciousness of that. So we have had numerous times, but we also have been very blessed with beautiful encounters and
Yeah.
been clear, and we do interact. Again, you know, we're constantly, we have days of healing, we have group gatherings, we are service, we have massive people we're interacting with all the time. And it's been to be very clear and speak through it. So Michael has said a few times, honey, this woman messaged me, I feel a little uncomfortable. And for me, it's been to give the power back to him. You address it properly so that you can help her, but in a very responsible, sacred, beautiful way. So she also recognizes, you know, like you're not putting her on in any way because you're so loving and kind. Be very clear as a channel, you know. So I wanted to share that, but we addressing it, what we have found whenever we've been attacked or accused, and we have had that together as a couple, to be forefront and use Facebook to really communicate from our heart and send so much love to that person, cover this being with so much love, and speak to our higher self, and us not to back, not to sort of shy away, be passive either, be right there, speak our truth. And that's the one I wanted to add.
And just to follow up, just a quick, because honey pretty much said it all. I feel, Todd, that these are also blessings because it strengthens our love for each other. Yeah. It sees if there's any holes, because, you know, honey and I can be very open in our friendship and our sincerity and our way that people may think it's a flirtatious or it's a overkind, but that's just our generosity from our hearts because we're very loving people.
We're very giving.
We're very giving. We're very open, and sometimes that energy, some people don't know how to take it because it's for the first time they're receiving so much. Like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And so for us to come together at the end of each night to literally speak about the day and what we're grateful for in each other, and to really bring forward what is the most important. The most important thing in our divine union is to hold this flame between us in the highest level. Like, our love for each other is the most important thing. And there's been times where, you know, my dad was alive and there was triggering between mom and father and her ex-spouse and children. When we can keep that alignment between ourselves and our grounding and really bring forth the purity of our communication between each other, then we realize nothing on the outside has an effect or pull over. And we really have to draw it back in, and then look at the blessing, because we know everything's happening for a reason, of where is it pulling on what field that still has the energy of it. So
that's yeah. And I love what you said. First of all, I love what you said, because so much of the time, because of everything that we've all been through, all of us, we can be a little bit tentative, you know. And I think one thing that we've learned, all of us have learned, is that there is something to be said. I'm not saying go out and get drunk and disorderly and just project, but it's good to have forward movement and confidence, knowing that we are being perfected, but we've got to make we've got to do something consciously, right? The other thing that you brought up too, which I think is great, is the fact that it's a blessing. There's a message for you, or there's a message for the both of you. And then what you said at the end about something still active, and Morgan made a comment, which is what I was going to mention when you said that. She beat me to the punch as usual. So I had this same situation. I'm not as handsome as Michael, so it wasn't quite as many women. But but I had this happening, and also I think it was happening because we weren't together. We were together for 10 weeks, and then we were apart for 9 months. And I'm traveling around, and of course I'm professing my love every single day, openly, always have. But still, something was active in my field that was magnetically pulling in women that you know, and from the human perspective, to me, were acting inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I said to Morgan, I'm not doing this, you know. She said, well, it's active in your field. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm not doing this. But this is where the karmic stuff or the ancestral stuff or whatever, whatever it is, the bottom line is it was active in my field. Once I cleared it, with the shadow expert, and she explained to me how you clear it, and you pull in the polarities and clear this thing, it's never happened again. Yeah. And that's, that's, I think, something that we as couples, there's a double, there's a more compounded probability that you're going to be attacked. And then you have, or, something's going to enter your field uninvited or whatever you want to call it. And then you have two, which can work for you, but can also complicate things. So I think this is an interesting topic as well. And I really like, and I just want to restate what you said too at the end about the fact that it's all coming back to the individual / couple. It's all coming back, it's not about them, it's about us, which is the same template or the same equation that Honi was talking about in terms of Michael and Honi. I got to handle my stuff, you got to handle your stuff. If I sit here and blame you or you blame me, even if you don't tell me, we got a problem, right?
Well, I feel a couple of quick things I want to mention. I'm in this place, Todd, that I don't even, the consciousness of belief in being attacked is no longer even in our field. We had experienced that, and that experience was because at that time the belief system was we can be attacked. That has long left our field. We had these 2 years, several experiences, but that was also part of, again, the higher responsibility. And especially I'm approached by men all the time. And as a female, I'm very, I'm confident in my, who I am in my beingness. So as many women around Michael, it doesn't even faze me. Yeah. And the part of it that, if anything, I have all my girlfriends, the closest one, all the women, it's like, listen, this is what it's like when you're around a sacred masculine. Make sure you have him do the massage, feel what it's like when it's a clean, pure energy. So I come from that place because of the confidence, but that's also part of, there's this alignment because the whatever energy that is also part of being cleared within all fields,
That's
so
right.
And it's always been a big blessing, and I feel the biggest blessing has been the level of communication we've been able to have, and just so much trust and confidence in that. And even when we're being attacked by brutal, this was a attack of a Jesus lover hater. But what ended up happening, I don't know if you know this, I opened the Facebook page and I started calling her name, and I said, listen, you're being drawn to our page because you're really looking for that Christ love. You're following Jesus the Christ from the hate, but here you're drawn to us, you're coming with this thing, but I feel you're surrounded, you want to be surrounded with love. So here's all of our Facebook, and let's love you. And that's the approach we took. Everybody poured love for this person. And guess what? She never, ever, ever reached out again. Do you see what I mean? So there's that way of also addressing it in a whole different way. Even so-called what would be considered attack is met with grace, is met with so much love. And that is, I'm so grateful to her because she gave us the ability to stand up and bring our love to this. So this too can transmute. You see what I mean? And that's the gift of being
a gift.
Family.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Right.
I always say,
and the power of us together, what it can do.
And now I almost look at the word attack as like it's a test. Like it's a test for us to say, how are we going to move through this situation? Because now we've diffused the energy of attack. And now how can this be a test to show that it doesn't affect us anymore? Because you social media, Todd, there's always going to be opinions. Everyone has their truth. Everyone has their beliefs. Not good, not bad, not right or wrong. It just is. And we have to honor it all. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we know when someone has brought something out of us, it's our responsibility to look within ourselves. And at the same time, just send as much love as possible. As much love from your higher self to their higher self, and just let it be without
no battle,
without being the police officer, the regulators, and just honoring because somewhere within they're hurting and they're in pain and they're just at a level that we just have to respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, well, you know, it's part of the process. I mean, and the other thing too that comes to mind that individuals do as well, but these couples are doing because they have to. There's, well, let's face it, we've all had to come against these divinely orchestrated, and they're really not attacks. We'll just call them infringements upon our space or whatever you want to call it. But we're breaking down barriers.
Yeah.
We're breaking down barriers, and that's another thing for everyone to remember. I think whether whether at this moment you're on the individual journey or and there's many people, by the way, that are connected to a partner that's maybe not in their physicality and maybe not even on the earth, you know.
That's right.
So this is but what I'm saying is, remember, everything that we're doing, we're at some level or another doing it to make it easier for those that come through that door after us. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Something I have to share, the Mahakohans had explained this to me that I feel might be of importance. When we face this, especially when we are in a union like this, because the energetic field is so expanded, it is capable of transmuting that density in that viciousness faster. That's why it is broad and is able to transmute it, because once it does that, it's able to do that within the collective field, because that too has to transmute. So once I received that, I was like, okay, well, this is a blessing. And I do want to address this too. When we started 2020, that was guided to us for 2020 is all about divine alignment. It's continuously divine alignment. And this next decade, there was so much. We had our event all around divine alignment and allowing this inner child, the teenager within, the adult and the elderly balance inside. Our bodies balance, everything balanced, especially the sacred divine masculine, sacred divine feminine, totally unified. And this is like, I don't know if you know, but our retreat in Sedona coming up end of April, we're going to go through this because it is, again, how to be in a stronger energetic field within you with all your bodies, so that in which is happening on the outside, such as right now when the inside this coronavirus, we're laughing about it because we're like, it's not even in our reality for it to be impacting us. So we because of what we experience and we hold the vibration field, we want to take the people through the strengthening that for themselves, because we've been able to touch on certain things that we feel from the wisdom that has been bestowed upon us from the direct experience. We can make it available for others to also become in the stronger energetic alignment of the divine alignment, so that way they're not thrown around, you see.
And to know, Todd, as you are feeling and as Morgan feeling, that because each day is becoming more powerful, because we know that the veil is so thin that we have the opportunity to tap into all of our psychic abilities. There's no better of a time to anchor in our fullness of alignment through our divinity, because we're no longer living this linear life. We are walking, we're breathing in our multidimensional realities where every aspect of every soul is coming forward, and we're being reunited with these beautiful gifts and powers that are already within us. And so many people are like, well, how do I do this? And where do I get there? And what do I read? And it's like, just keep grounding and aligning within yourself of who you are. So then the fullness of expression can come forward. And that really means honoring the fire, the earth, the water, the air, looking at the direction, seeing what's in front of you, and just listening what's coming before. Because the more we can balance ourselves, harmonize ourselves, and connect with the trueness of our soul, look out, fireworks.
So, and the galactics, the galactics, intergalactics, and the multidimensional part of ourselves, all of that, the fullness of it is being brought in here. So it has to be met with these inner plane here, so that we can ground them into Gaia, and that's really the true divine alignment. So everything for us is divine alignment, divine alignment, divine. That's the key code, keywords, and that has to do also with all. So interesting enough, being in the United States, you know, we've been working with the Atlantis energy. We had to bring that into divine alignment. And then there's the Lemurian energy on this side. So there's all of that coming back into the divine alignment. That's why we're bringing the fullness of all the consciousness back here to align it back fully. And for me, it's a celebration. It's really,
Oh, yeah.
I do the celebration.
It's like coming home. We know we're coming home, and we know that
We are home.
I mean, we are home.
Anchoring
It's just anchoring it and being in our fullness of balance. And it doesn't take, you know, to me, and I know for others, a lot of people were like, well, you're ahead of the consciousness and you're on a higher level. Like, let's get rid of the higher and the lower, and let's just bring it back to balance. Let's bring it back to alignment so that we can all realize that we are one. We are one heart, one love. You are me, I am you. And let's drop the differences so that we can fully represent what is coming forward in this beautiful awakening.
Right on. And if you look at the earth metaphorically, the shape of the earth, if everybody's standing on it, nobody's higher than anybody. They're all standing on the same line. So right on to everything you said, and thank you. So where are you going to be? I know you're going to be in Sedona end of April, but what well, I was going to say what concrete plans, but what at this moment, what are your plans of like places you're going to go through the end of the year, and when?
We have a couple of things. We will be in Long Island, New York, end of March. Then two things. I start a 1 week from April 4th to April 11th. I was guided to start this, and this is a 1 week deep journey of prioritizing divine love above everything else, and 1 week to journey together. And it's going to be private Facebook page for people that want to really go deep and really own it. Stop making excuses and just the ownership of this gift so that you can live and serve from there. So that's coming up. Then we have our Sedona retreat, which we're collaborating with Sandra Walter on that Sunday for the global unity meditation. It is the 23rd through the 26th, and it's just for 11 people. And from there, then we go to Hawaii. We had to put Hawaii on hold because my mother was in a car accident, and that's a blessing with her heart open and everything. And then we'll be in Hawaii
for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks to then finally do our part. What we did in Greece, fulfill it finally here with anchoring this crystalline diamond codes of light. So for that to be anchored, and this is probably the most important thing. 5/5 taught a ginormous global event, free event everywhere.
Cinco de Mayo, man.
Cinco de Mayo. But we'll be on the land in Hawaii, and this is for the spontaneous song of everybody on earth together with the celebration of the master whales. I put a video out a month ago about what came through and that rawness, and this is the master whales have asked for their voice to really vibrate through the whole planet. So everybody's welcome. It's free. It's going to be online live stream, and it's going to be 11/11, and it's going to be very, very powerful. I'll create the event page for it.
We'll be on the Big Island.
We'll be on the Big Island for that one.
And then from there, we're going to allow and be guided to see what's happening. Obviously, everything we're watching, where we're not attached to anything.
Yes.
We're seeing how everything is moving, because if there is a cancellation of everything, then we just go into our hearts, open our doors, and kumbaya, and bring everyone in.
We're going to bring people here if it's closed, because my son's school just closed, the other one's closed, everything is shutting down. We're like, interesting. And we had our unity meditation again last night, every Tuesday night, free, 8 o'clock we have it. And Todd, you love it because we hold the vibration of love for Gaia in this 30 minutes. Everybody's from everywhere participating. And we said, we see this as a blessing with this coronavirus, not as a suffering, because there's quite a bit of resetting templates everywhere. So our door is open. If things shut down, like we have people come over here.
Do meditations,
no problem,
we'll bring out food. Like let instead of, like, I saw a photo of like what a rebellion looks like. of people in the streets going crazy, and then what a rebellion looks like in our life of just like, okay, let's bring the people in.
Let's have tea
Let's
together.
have anchor and see what the trueness of coming forth, because we know that we can't be attached to anything. We just got to keep living life to its fullest each day and just watch what happens, because we all know there's some super powerful vibrations moving through, and I'm ready for this. I told Honi since I was a little kid, I was like a Boy Scout saying, let's do this. Let's bring it all to a beginning, because I feel like we've been trained our whole lives, for many lives, to get to this point. So whatever happens,
Absolutely.
we know it's going to be the best, and I'm excited for it all. I'm ready for. I mean, I don't want to sound like a doomsday, but let everything collapse, reset, so we can start anew from what we really
Bring it
believe.
on, man. Bring it on. Bring it all on. Bring it all on. Stop bitching about it and bring it on.
I
I
agree.
totally agree with you. There is
Especially workers, because I did a video, Michael did a work. Like seriously, like you're gonna get like serious. I'm not coming from a judgment, but like holding you accountable. Like this is the time for you to shine your light. You want to go into fear now? Like really?
Rise.
Come on,
Let's
like,
rise through this.
You know.
take advantage of the cheaper tickets.
Yeah,
And I just want to say there is a virus very active on the face of the earth, and it's called the soul. The I am soul. That's the only one I care about. It trumps any other anything. So you know what? Let's just keep rocking and rolling with it. Maybe we'll hook up with you in the flesh, sometime during the year. Maybe.
Where are you right now?
Where are you now? Like I know
we're in St. Pete Beach, and we're going to be down in Fort Lauderdale end of the month for about 2 weeks, and then we think we're going to head north. We're not quite sure.
Yeah, it will be a lot coming up. And we'll see, and we put it out for the right house to come for us, because my younger son wants to live with us now.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So
That's going to be a game changer and I mean that in a positive way, because their energy, these young people's energy is incredible.
Oh, incredible. So we got a lot coming up. But again, people, please, they can connect with us on Ascension Alchemists, because that's the new portal. And that was the name that was given to us, so that we're honored. Finally, we have that. And we're so grateful people are joining us there, and all the activities through there. So they can connect. And if it can be of service, we're here to serve. And that's it. We're just here to serve the best way that we can.
And we're grateful for you, Todd, and Morgan, for what is being brought forward, because I feel for all those that are going through what they're going through, no judgment. We also have to realize that we're doing it together. And for us to live by the seat of our pants, for us to just take each day as it comes, to know what dollars not coming in are coming in. We know at the end of the day, we're going to survive, we're going to move forward, and we're going to rise. And that's all we have to, realize within our hearts, because these are the times that we've been all waiting for. And I feel excited of like, whatever happens is going to happen. So let's just keep marching. Let's keep surfing those waves and see where it goes, because before we know it, we're going to be on the other side being like, wow, it was totally worth it.
I want to go back. Everybody's like, I'm not going back. I'm like, well, but yeah, this is why we're here. Yeah. Thank you so much. I love you both.
Good to see you. Give Morgan a hug. Blessings for all the people that you're bringing on, and just sharing that message, because we know we're all united in our hearts, and we just want to keep sharing the blessing of love and light. And
absolutely.
So much love to you, Morgan. Thank you for everything behind the scenes.
Yeah. Love you guys. I hope to see you this year. I think we'll see each other.
I think we will.
But I don't think, I feel it.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. That think is not in the vocabulary anymore. It's no. I know we'll see each other this year. You guys take care. It's good to see you.
Love you,
Bye,
brother.
sweetheart.
Bye.